Sooners of Oklahoma at 12-0 and still looking for respect nationwide.
What is going on, Sooner Nation? Thank you all for tuning into another episode of the Barry and Mack Show. As always, myself, Barry, personal trainer, sports homes coach out of Tulsa, Oklahoma, and alongside me, former Sooner wide receiver, 2000 national champ, Mr. Damian Mackey. How are we doing tonight, D-Mac?
Doing well. Just watched the Miami Hurricanes take that L. Salute to Louisville. And by the way, their schedule was terrible. This was like their last chance to really have competition, and they lost at home. So all the Sooner fans licking their wounds. Miami got some wounds to lick too. By the way, Louisville unranked, 4-1 team at home. So we take care of business tomorrow. We'll be right where we need to be. We just gotta correct our mistakes and get back on the saddle.
Exactly, man. And I know it's been a minute, Sooner Nation, but thank you guys for your patience. As always, before we jump in, this show brought to you by OU Insider, OUinsider.com. Go over there, get yourself a membership if you are interested in recruiting info, team info, want to know what it was like in the build-up before the Texas game, going on behind the scenes with Mateer's hand, some of the things we were hearing about the offensive line health, and some of the health in recent weeks. You know, it seems that this game against South Carolina, OU will have one of the healthiest versions. I think it's fair to say the healthiest version of the offense that it will have going into any game so far this year. And we'll talk about Mateer's hand a little bit and some of the things that I noticed with some of the mechanical stuff that he was doing, not doing, and just, general football things, D-Mac. But first, just to kind of bury and put away last week's game, as you talk about Miami going down, we said it at the beginning of the year. This is a Sooner team that could afford to maybe even 3 losses, right? If they're to the right team at the right time, quote unquote, that they still got a shot as a fringe playoff contender, or at least a team kind of right on the cusp. But let's put to bed this last week's game, D-Mac. Kind of your final thoughts there as we round out and really talk about who this team is now mid-season and what we expect going into the South Carolina game.
Couldn't pick a worse opponent to lose to. Couldn't have picked a worse time to lose to them. By the way, there probably won't be a more beatable team. I think next year they're going to correct the quarterback issues. I think either Manning gets better, kid has a high ceiling, or they're going to find somebody else who can play Q. It's just one of those things where I think this series goes in cycles with momentum, and I felt to me like OU was on the cusp of snatching that back and kind of, taking the mantle, if you will, in terms of the rivalry. And obviously they didn't. Very disappointed. In retrospect, I think everyone agrees. You said it off camera just a second ago. Probably wasn't very wise for Mateer to play in the fashion in which he played. I don't think it was very smart optics for anyone to say he didn't practice good on good. That's dumb. I love my scheme. I love my team, but God forbid the kid sat out for 2 weeks and then game week he doesn't do any of the main good on good reps during the week. I think even in retrospect, BV probably says I wasn't a very bright idea. I wonder what Hawkins is thinking, in terms of where he stands. By the way, I know there's a huge contingency of Sooner fans who don't care and think we need to go portal anyway. But I'm gonna rest where I said on 10 thoughts. It's week 6. Who the hell are we? Who are we? I watched Miami, Louisville, and it's interesting. Louisville beat Miami with the same inside shallow route. If you guys watch the game, right, they run a seam up the hash mark to stretch the backer. The backer's got to turn and run, and then they run a shallow right underneath it. And it's a now throw. If you hit it now, you can split the backers. They split it twice, score twice, same exact play. But you see who they are. They want to run outside zone. They run shallows, and they want to run isos. They run some triangle concepts on the edges, right? Like by the way, very standard, simple offense. But it was like, oh, okay, they went back to their bread and butter. They had action off of the primaries that they were trying to do. Week 6, I don't know who we are. And when we play against South Carolina, I'm just looking forward to seeing that. Yeah, we got to run the football. And 6 weeks into the season, I'm just not a big believer in blaming the players at that point. I'm just not a believer, right? You have what you have. And as coaches and a program, you have to figure out what your guys can do well. You've got to communicate. You're in the building a lot with those guys. At a certain point, there's got to be conversations and or accountability around, right, having some level of success where we can cover guys up, move guys, misdirect guys, bad eyes, something, right? Out leverage, quick hitter, something. And so there's too many smart guys in that room to not have any answers between the OC and the O-line coach and the analyst who's come in with Wilson. There's just too many guys in that room who have a ton of schemes, concepts to run to not overcome that. So guys, yes, the players got to execute, but that's squarely on the shoulders of coordinators, coaches, and the heads in the building to figure out how to find success, especially coming off a bye. And then a warm up. Like it was exactly as it should have been. You got a bye week to get healthy. You got a warm up game against Kent State. We should have had very clear concepts ready for Texas. I didn't see nothing. Now, last thing I'll say, and I'll pass it back to you. Our quarterback killed us.
Yeah.
Quarterback killed us.
Mhm.
There were plays available. There were opportunities, and him being rusty, I think, is something that we have to own. Him being injured is something we clearly have to own. Um, but at the same time, you know, I get why they did it, and the week's over. It's Friday. We got a game literally tomorrow, and this game is a big deal. We get this game. We're 2-1 in conference. We're still sitting where we need to be. We're probably ranked in the top 11, right? It's something in that area. It's a blip on the radar. We lose this game, and psyches start to really start questioning. Are we as good as we thought we were, right? And so this game is one that's very winnable. South Carolina has come back. They were a better team last year than they are this team. Sellers was a better quarterback last year than he was this year. Their offense has struggled all year. I was looking at their their top pass catcher has less yards than our pass catcher. Sellers has less total yards than Mateer has, right? So like their running back is right on cue. Our running game is not very good. Their top running back, Blaylock, I think is our number one guy. Their number one guy is right in that same hemisphere. So they're not an offensive juggernaut. It's a game we've got to make sure we take advantage and win.
Yeah, if fans didn't want to call Texas a must-win game, this one, which I think you kind of famously or infamously did before, and people were like, it's not a must-win, but you spoke about it in the rivalry context, in the what it means. Texas is down, as you said, the most winnable game left on the schedule, right? You saw Texas just get demolished by Florida, who ran the ball down their throats, just big boyed them. You never felt any of that coming from Oklahoma in this game. And before we fully put it to bed, just some things, on the tier. Anytime you don't practice and work something and rep it and make it to the point where it is like second nature. And you could tell that not just in him, but the other players weren't confident, right? You had Burks cutting up runs on reverses that he shouldn't have cut up, right? You had guys getting blamed for blocking where the lane and the hole is there. And some of it's what we've said all year, and some of it was just Mateer was off, so it felt like the whole offense was off. that they never got into a good flow, never got into a good rhythm. And you know what? To some extent, it almost feels like, and I don't want to put this juju on them, but it feels a little bit like the Landry Jones era of offense, to where those teams
Nah, they used
offensively
to.
were so follow me on this.
Okay, okay, okay. I'm listening.
Just
I'm listening.
those
I'm intrigued.
teams
I'm intrigued.
were really solid between the 20s. But when it came to getting into the red zone and playing big boy football, they had to resort to gimmicks to move the line of scrimmage. And this team, although I won't say they're there yet, they are a team where the ceiling for that offense was much higher, I think, than this offense at the time, just by who Landry Jones was, who some of the other guys playing on that team were. But the problems and sort of the big picture issues are still the same. And what that means is OU, if they cannot run the football effectively, which is going to lead me into this next question I got for you just for the offense, if they can't run the football effectively in the traditional sense, and then now you have a hurt Mateer where he was having issues before, but once he caught that thumb on a couple helmets, he got hit a few times. It felt like it really shell shocked him in the game. Like he had some issues with patting the ball a little too long, being afraid to rip it, being a little hesitant, right? Anytime you hurt something, man, there's always a limiting factor. Even though you could tell your body it doesn't hurt, you can psych yourself up as much as you want, that there is still a limiting factor when you have an injury that affects you no matter how much you do not want it to. And I think he faced that. And I think it affected the team's confidence down the stretch. But at what point, and maybe this is a two-parter, because over on OU Insider, one of the things that was being discussed, and I thought it's a good point, is offensive line-wise, DMAC, at what point do you start in balancing, is the player technically good versus what does he bring to you from a mentality standpoint? When your offensive line is missing the mentality wholesale, at what point, what is that line in the sand where you say, you know what, technically you're good enough to run some of the things we need to try to run, so we're going to put you in the game, right? And to name names, we're talking about an EPL. We're talking about, possibly, and I'm going to say Akinkumi, but some of those other guys who are players who have shown that they can do it at different times, primarily an EPL, who brings a tremendous amount of intensity. At what point do you just let loose and do that over continuing to put out the same line that in this game struggled pass blocking as well? Right. So now you're playing a South Carolina team that doesn't have the players that did a year ago, but does have guys. What is that line in the sand for this offensive line, man?
People are not going to like my answer. People are not going to like my answer. By the way, I don't think this offense in any way, shape, or form competes with Landry's. Landry's had a subpar defense. Landry didn't have the worst of Mike, but he had Mike when Mike started getting bad. So
Sure.
Landry might score 27-31 and lose 55-31. Landry was throwing that thing. I think he's our all-time leading passing,
Still
in
is.
passing yard. Yeah. So
Before
he had Broyles and he had some guys. They was out there getting to it. So I just don't want to.
They still had to gimmick themselves
I
into
understand what you're
winning
saying.
short
No, I
yards.
understand.
I think it's
I
my bigger
understand that.
point.
But I'm thinking more like,
did you see the stat that OU has not had a game against an SEC opponent since they've joined where they've scored more than 2 offensive touchdowns?
bro, I got a million stats for you.
That's
I got a million
crazy.
stats for you. Which Landry Jones would have scored some. Landry Jones would have scored on Saturday.
That's a fact. Oh, 100%. Yes.
Landry Jones would have threw that rock in there. Anyway, Landry Jones would have just had a pick six, scoop and score, fumble, whatever. So I don't want to talk about Landry. I don't want to talk about Landry. I don't want to talk about Landry.
Shout out Landry Jones.
Landry's his name is inked up there at the very top of QBs in terms of production yards and things of that nature, not accolades. So listen, football is a smart man's game. Football is also extremely emotional. We all get emotional. We all get mad. We're mad at the right guard, the left guard. We're mad at the right tackle, the left tackle. We're mad at these guys. The game is designed to provide and find mismatches. If a defense knows that you've got a guy out there who can run block but can't pass block, or who can't pick up the adjustments, who can't pick up the pivots, who can't pick up the audibles, who's a step late and slow, they will kill you. They will overload that gap. They will cross face that gap. They will play a game in your gap and he will get you killed. So I don't know the deficits and or issues EPL has. If he's really close to Ozita, I don't know. I don't honestly don't know. But I will say the people who say put in the red shirt freshman who's 6'4" and let's just throw the fade route. The game don't work like that, right? Like it's if
Mhm.
I mean
100%.
now there are ways to scheme that and rotationally get guys in 100%. So I'm not gonna, we talk about receivers when we talk about receivers, but for the sake of the offensive line, listen, I said it. I'm gonna say it till my face turns blue. The coaches have to find a scheme or a concept that works. Let me give you an example. Oh one type leaves, pretty much same old line, pretty much same skill guys. Quarterback changes. It's the only difference. And then right, Nate's the QB the first 2 or 3 games. We struggle. Guess what coach does? He goes with J Dub because they was neck and neck in the fall camp.
Mhm.
J Dub's a Q for 2 or 3 games. We ball. All of a sudden, we balling again. J Dub gets hurt. Is that Nebraska or he gets hurt? I forgot what game he gets hurt.
Nebraska. Nebraska was
He
the
gets hurt.
second
Yeah, it is
ACL,
the
yeah,
game. He gets he
or the
gets he
first
gets hurt.
ACL.
He
Yeah.
gets hurt in Nebraska. Nate, we both run the same play. Eric Crouch catches it. Nate falls over his feet, and we don't catch ours. They beat us by 7. But my point is, Nate comes back in. All of a sudden, we struggle. And by 2002 season, Nate's much improved, and we go to the Rose
Mhm.
Bowl and we beat
Yeah.
Wazoo. Right. The point is, um, it wasn't the guys. It like right. So what happens? We can't run the football. 2001, we can't run the football with Quentin Griffin. We can't run the football. And Mangino says after it, I don't know if it was before OU Texas or after OU Texas. It was literally the OU Texas week. We find a way to win. Roy Superman, the whole the defense essentially just right. Texas can't get anything going. Mangino says we're scrapping it. We're scrapping it. You guys can't do. And it's crazy. It's pretty much the same crew. Frank's back. HD's back. Bubba Burgeon left, right? So we lost our center, which was the captain of the offensive line. He was a senior the year we won the Natty. I forgot who our center was. 2001 season. That's
Who
crazy. I
was the
forget.
center in 2000? Vince
I could
Carter wasn't there yet.
no VC was
So,
was getting recruited that year or the year after. But needless to say,
anyway, yeah.
Skins was still there. I mean, we still had a lot of the guys. Mike Skinner is who I'm speaking to. Mangino said, "I got to do what you guys are better at," and we started running power football. We started running power concepts. And Leach has no part of his offense where you pull a guard. There's never a play in Leach's offense where you pull a guard. Never. But K State pulled the guards a lot, which is where
Mhm.
Mangino came from. So Mangino had the extra credentials, experience, concepts in his back pocket. And later in that year, we started running power concepts and saying, hey, get into the crease. We knew if we could get Quentin in daylight, Quentin could cook, right? And so it really just boiled down to how do we make the best out of this group? And obviously that team, I don't know, we lose to Okie State that year. We lose to
No
01,
one
we
was 2 losses. It was
Okie State. We lost to Okie State in 01.
Nebraska.
Guess what? And Nebraska.
That was
Both
it.
games, winnable games. Both games, winnable games. Rashawn Woods has an impeccable day, and then Nate trips and Eric Crouch doesn't. It's literally the same play. Crouch catches his, Nate doesn't. And of course, the play's queued up for J Dub, right? But J Dub hurts his knee. So
Yeah.
coaches, Mangino was the one who stepped up and said, hey, we're going to make this happen. Now, by the way, people always had issues with him after 2000. And of course, Long, and then Wilson comes, and then Wilson blows shit up. Offense is cooking. I need beat him, Bo. It's really Arbuckle. Son, you're getting paid millions to be our OC, and you came in to be the guru. I argue with people. I don't argue with people. That's a lie. People just Mac, you don't know. Listen, I'm just telling you, right? If Leach doesn't come in and say, "Hey guys, we're running this new concept. We don't win the Natty if we're not running Leach's stuff." Leach came in with a ragtag group of offensive guys, and with his scheme and our discipline is how we were able to whoop ass. We did not have the most talented roster on offense in America. Defense, I gave it to you, and obviously we had a phenomenal QB. Hype was a hype. He does not get the credit he deserves. Hype. Watch this. Baker, maybe a little less Kyler, but even Jalen, and for sure Sam Bradford, they were told the plays to run. They were in the era of football where you lined up, looked at the sideline, somebody told you what you guys were going to do. Josh called every play. We would call a play. If they lined up as something different, Josh was literally our like field sergeant who would say, "Nope, we're not running this play." He didn't look on the sideline. Maybe 1 out of 5 or 1 out of 10. Otherwise, we had checks that we practiced and we would run those damn plays. And like he called the play at the line of scrimmage. Just a different caliber game. And so, yeah, the offensive line, I think it's coaching.
Mm-hmm.
Our offense has guys that everybody in America wanted. Yeah, maybe not Georgia. Yeah, maybe not Ohio State. I bet you Fasusi was wanted.
Yeah.
Right? Like we got dudes that Minnesota, Louisville can run the damn football. Louisville can run the football. All of our guys could play at Louisville. They're in a
Texas Tech.
system.
Look at what Texas Tech is doing offensively.
Hey, I can't. Listen. Shout out to Joey. I'll never throw up their Longhorn, but he's Cedar Hill baby, and I rock that Cedar Hill. I always believe
look
that.
at the physicality they play with. I know they're in the Big 12, but like they dominated this year.
Well, and we'll see how it plays out.
Sure.
And I don't want to talk about Tech so much as I want to say.
No, I think it's
I
to
want to
point,
see
though.
our guys get the best brought out of them.
Yeah.
Here's what I'll tell you. It's not like we're running a bunch of dynamic plays and they're getting their ass kicked. We're running some slow developing plays, right?
Mhm.
We're running QB draw, and the quarterback doesn't have a clear defined hole to run to. It kind of looks like he's second guessing. Like you feel me? Like if we're gonna talk about the players, let's talk about the play. Let's look at the play. It's not like we're running jet sweep with a backside dive and then we got an RPO off of it. We're running some vanilla stuff. It's vanilla and it doesn't build. So for everyone who's complaining about the players, and I agree, our players they ain't getting it done. But it would also suck if our offense said, "Hey, dude, you could only run a slant, the curl, or the fade. That's it." Like, how easy is it going to be on the defense if that's all we're doing, right? So, I think it's 50. I think it's mainly Arbuckle. Sorry. I think he has to prove himself. And Sooner Nation, this is what I could do. This and people are getting to it. But like, what is he proving here?
No.
OU is known for OCs that get it done. Decent OCs get fired here. Now, the last one was a fiasco, but like we've had Hype got fired because we were averaging like 27. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is a place where OCs come to flourish. Yet I just when I said what I said, I didn't hear a lot of other people saying it. I didn't hear a lot of other people calling out Arbuckle like, "Yo, dude, what's the offense that we're supposed to have?" A lot of people talked about the O-line. A lot of people talked about the running backs. Barry, you and I talked about that last fall camp. A whole year and a half ago, you and I said, "Hey, the O-line is what it is. We haven't recruited there well. Beat 'em ball, you're responsible for that." But like, I'm not gonna then go into the season and be mad because we have a mediocre. Like the group is mediocre. We know they're mediocre. What is the coach gonna do to get the best out of them? To me, that is the part where coaching matters. And so, I hear people talking about they want Barnes. No, you don't. Stop lying. Barnes ain't gonna go in there and do nothing different. He's gonna run into our guys. You're gonna be.
Yeah.
They just want to see something different. Right? People want to see something different. I get it.
Yeah.
We're an emotional fan base. We expect excellence, and whatever's not working, we're gonna try something different. I respect that. But to your question, no, if EPO is gonna come in there and it limits our ability to audible, or it limits our ability to do certain things with snap count and or protections and or zone side blocking versus man side blocking, twist stunts, things of that nature. If that limits us, no, you can't put a guy in there because his mentality is he's gonna No, the smart teams are going to make him think, and then he's not going to be very physical.
Well, and to me, like, it comes down to, Beatonbow, Joe John, DeMarco, that they're going to be the scapegoats because they've been the scapegoats. And we did the DeMarco thing last pod, so we're not going to do that again. But
Is what it is. Yep.
just about the running back position as a whole, him versus Kale, that whole nine. But I think you bring up a good point of when you're brought in to be a leader. Arbuckle wasn't brought in like Latrell was brought in. Arbuckle wasn't brought in to, kind of save the continuity and the transition. Arbuckle was brought in to be transformative,
Yes.
to transform the offense. And that meant, like, once you say that, you're telling the coaches that are there currently, you're on notice that you better follow this guy's lead because we are giving him the keys to the castle. And I don't even necessarily mean to steel man the point, but as you put it, it kind of makes too much sense in that you have a guy who was wanted by a number of teams, number of programs would have paid millions of dollars. I know Sooner fans are looking at it now with like buyer's remorse and what. Nah, you weren't viewing it like that when they played Michigan, right? Fans were saying, well, what a phenomenal game plan. What way to implement some strategy, right? You've seen cracks in the armor on the offensive line. That I just got done sort of looking at some different stuff, and just one of the things in the coaching profession is not just taking responsibility, but taking extreme responsibility. In other words, don't look to pass the blame at all until you've exhausted and looked at everything within yourself and what you're doing. And right now, if Arbuckle can look himself in the mirror and say, I, as a coach, have done everything I can to come up with this little wrinkle, that little wrinkle, put this guy in a better position to succeed, empower the position coaches, empower the guys like Beatonbow, make suggestions, do things within the offense, go and see what Beaton, and I'm sure he's done this to some extent, but you need a reevaluation at this point now. The offense is not getting it done. What does Beatonbow do well? And what has he done well historically? And as an offense, let's do that, right? Let's scrap something if it needs to be scrapped. And it kind of brings me to the second point that I want to hit, in that how much of this also falls on Mateer. It is the injury a little bit of a not a misnomer, but is that maybe being a little overblown? Like, I think it actually was more of a factor that fans might even want to realize. There was just some things that he was doing, times where he wouldn't let the ball rip where he normally would let it rip, and multiple times to Burks. He seemed to be a little quick on some of the mesh point stuff, like getting his hand out of there. I don't know if you noticed that. Not that OU runs even a ton of like true RPO, but he was just, you could see him being very quick to get his hand out of compromising situations. And after the play, did all he could to avoid extra contact. Just played it smart, but not loose, right? So how much of something like this, and more in the context of this game against South Carolina than what you did against Texas, what has to happen for Mateer to get the reins pulled back on this thing?
Yeah, I think it was either rest or we're in trouble, or at least he's in trouble. I think the fair-minded individual will say 3 weeks of not playing, coming off an injury, he played bad, and I love the way he owned it. He owned it. I listened to what he had to say in his post-game conference. He owned it, which I think was very intelligent. I also think it was accurate, and I think he's a phenomenal player, and so I think he's going to rebound and be okay. I think he kind of was concerned about what the injury would be like. And Barry, this is something that again I think I've heard other people say it, but I just think I just know because I played in that game. I guarantee you he'd never played in a game like that before. By the way, Arbuckle never OC'd a game like that before. It's just different to be in that game, the momentum highs and lows, to be in that stadium when all the momentum's going your way, and then they seize the momentum, and then 54,000 people are screaming, "OU sucks," and then Texas suck, right? The whole thing, right? If you're in the game, you know. And so him being there, both of those guys, I just think the moment was kind of big.
Mm.
I think the moment was big, and the injury doesn't help. The rust doesn't help. The offensive line doesn't help. The scheme doesn't help, right? So there's an avalanche of things that are a detriment to our ability to be successful. I think that's fair, and so I want to move past all of the radical, emotional, right? Do we suck now? Because the other thing is you don't really, and I think, you know what? I haven't heard anyone say this, and I think this is really important to say too. It's very rare. You're like a championship caliber team, and generally you're not even just a championship caliber. It's kind of like you're a reigning champion when you say, right, we may have won, but we've got chinks in our armor, and we're gonna like en masse say fix stuff, change stuff, alter stuff. You don't. You just, if you're finding ways to win, you're gonna tweak. You're gonna make some additions and subtractions, right? Some alterations, but you're not gonna just say, okay. But when you lose that game, right, that's when you see what you're made of. And so we lost a game. Miami just lost. Georgia's lost. Bama lost. Tennessee lost. The only team in the SEC that's really, they're not on our schedule is A&M.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They're pretty Ole Miss, but Ole Miss got Georgia Saturday, so tomorrow. So what matters to me is how we play Saturday. If we have another 7-6, could you imagine we score 7 points on Saturday
Mm.
after the whole Seth and Joe John fiasco, and they were getting paid whatever they were getting paid, and now we got Arbuckle. Like, Arbuckle came so that we could score 28 to 31 points a game. That was the whole
Right.
reason. That's the whole reason he came. And that's why I keep saying, like, why are we complaining about kids we had? We upgraded. The offensive line is better this year than last year. Period. Quarterback
Absolutely.
play is light years better than it was last year. Period. The scheme doesn't look that much better to me. Okay, we got a sniffer. You know what I'm saying? But like, it's not a lot more complex. I watched games Saturday and I'm like, damn, they setting it up. Oh, there it is. Oh, they setting it up. Oh, there it is. Right. Like those high, that's how you manufacture drives. That's how you manufacture scores. That's how you stay in the defense's head. Sark did it to us all Saturday. Sark was able to run the ball because he had set us up on misdirection and on the edges.
Yeah.
They were able to hit us up inside because the misdirection stuff and the edge stuff kept us on our heels. We couldn't just pin our ears back. And so that's what I want to see, Barry. South Carolina is a good team for us to be playing. Our schedule still sets up for us
Oh yeah.
to, if we were playing Tennessee this week, we would be in trouble. We would be in trouble.
It'd be tough.
In Knoxville,
Yeah.
trying to figure, and they can throw. They're gonna throw that thing. By the way, they're gonna throw that deep post, that skinny post. They're gonna throw that deep fade. They're gonna throw that comeback. They're gonna throw that quick slant, and they're gonna throw that bang eight. Remember that bang eight? They took 80 on us last year. The quarterback shows the ball, pulls it out 7 yards, and he cutting across like a man. Listen, I think we're in a good position. We just gotta see. Guys, I don't have the answers. I'm gonna analyze what we do. I'll be on Twitter tomorrow. Kind of seeing how things go and how they progress, and then Barry and I will post game pod when it's over. But I just think it's very important to say, guys, the sky has not fallen yet. As much as I am calling out Arbuckle, I'm calling him out from the sense of show me, not from the sense of you suck. I'm not by no stretch of the imagination saying Arbuckle sucks. What I am saying is you came here your name was coming up for coaching positions. Your name will be coming up for fire positions in a year or two if if we don't turn this around. You're getting paid a handsome amount of money to make sure we are successful in offense. I want to start to see it. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and it felt like, and this sort of alludes to what you said about the game, it has become very obvious that Sark saves his best juice that he's got for OU Texas. The every year that they have played since Sark has been there, Texas has come out and thrown something in there that they haven't seen. Like, what has OU done schematically in that game, DMAC, besides run Braden Willis out there at quarterback? Like, what crazy thing have they done, or schematic thing have they done in that game that was just a major changeup, right? A curveball.
With
Um,
Iowa, he said with Iowa. God dang, we kind of hard on Iowa. Iowa can tote that thing though.
yeah,
Iowa can tote that rock. We can't
and
tote
they
the
play
rock.
good defense. And we'll touch on the defense here in a second, but you're right. South Carolina, not the team they were a year ago. This is a game that does set up well. That if you do, if you were to receive the loss against Texas, you got essentially a bounce back opportunity that's on the road too, so that there's this come together aspect with the team. There's some us against the world aspect of the team having to go and just get the win, right? Which to me kind of takes us over to the other side of the ball, where this was the first game where, at the end of the day, Texas only scored, what was it, 17 offensive points, right? Or 16, but whatever the final number was, at multiple field
16.
goals. 16, yeah, because they had three field goals. So you have a team where you played good defense all season. You have been one of the top, if not the best defense in college football. It feels like, because of how OU's offense performed, that you were outperformed on Saturday defensively. Really, you were, especially when it came to spots and moments in the game that were key opportunities where you could have gotten on the field, off the field. You could have gotten them to second and short, third and short, and they weren't able to do it. So you have this game against South Carolina, DMAC. What has to be the messaging, particularly to those players who, maybe not your Jaden Jacksons, not your Kobe's or your Kips, more so, guys who have been through the ups and downs, but to a guy like Eli Bowen, right? A guy like Reggie Powers, a guy like just players, Kendall Daniels, who was first year in the scheme. Yes, he's not a young player, but first year under BV. How do you not let this thing go off the rails defensively and keep that message tight and deliver something that is powerful as a coaching staff and powerful enough to get your team back to the mental mindset that it had against Michigan, that it had when they played Temple, that it had when they played Auburn, right? How do you make sure that you ensure that in this game?
I think defense is business as usual. I don't think we need to overly change or improve the defense. I mean, it's funny because somebody brought up a video of, oh, that's not right. It was Campbell at the Detroit. Detroit was playing the Chiefs. Campbell said, if you remember our pod 2 years ago, I said, hey, Bob Stoops told us the game comes down to 5 or 6 plays. The game is the game, and all the plays matter, but there's generally 5 to 6 plays in the game. And Campbell brought that up at halftime of the Chiefs' first Detroit game. Our defense played well. Our defense, listen, our quarterback threw it to their guy 3 times. That
Yeah,
hurts us.
that's big.
That's the defense has no control over us making a turnover on second down, us making a turnover with 10 seconds left in a half, right? Granted, and you brought this up off camera, and I 100% agree. I think we have a coordinator who wants to call the perfect play, and sometimes he puts our defense at a detriment of just being ballers because everybody's slanting one way, and if the running back sees it, feels it, cuts back, there's no one there. We overload a side trying to guess or whatever, right? And I do believe there's some merit to that. I've seen that happen. I wish BV would just play balance sometime and say, go get him. But it requires him to trust the man coverage more, and he doesn't. For whatever reason, BV wants to zone up more than Mike wanted to play man. BV's always wanted to play zone. That's just always been their thing 20 years ago when they were my coach. So I want to see The issue we have tomorrow is we have a quarterback who can beat you with his legs and beat you with his arm, and he's an NFL caliber guy. He's a guy who's
Oh
going to
yeah.
get drafted. Big, strong, fast guy. You're not going to arm tackle him. You're not going to just like, when you hit him, he's going to fall straight down. He's a guy who, if you give him some opportunity, he's going to make plays happen. And so I just want us to play clean. Um, I just want us to, be clean. If you guys saw, the one touchdown they score is a mental bust. It's Kobe, Kendall Doby. Um, and it'll be interesting if he plays tomorrow. I'll just leave it at that. I'll be paying attention tomorrow to see if he plays. If you guys are listening to our podcast, be conscientious. I don't know what specials he's on, but just hearing some stuff that maybe he won't play, and if he doesn't play, I'll kind of give you guys my take on why he didn't play. Um, Somebody said he's out. There it is. Yep. It's okay. So um, I'll speak to why I think he's out. I mean, maybe people know already. Um, but anyway, it's yeah, it's that's a game where if Kendall doesn't, damn, that kind of pisses me off. If Kendall doesn't have that bust, and by the way, I heard that there was confusion. Kendall's on the play thinking they're in a cover two defense, when in reality he's supposed to be covering number two, meaning like the inside receiver, right? And
Mm.
so that's why he's wide open. Um, and yeah, the by the way, that's my goddaughter's twin brother. By the way, he was gonna come to OU. I
That's
don't know if you remember our first year in the pod. Yeah, he's from LA. He's my goddaughter's more. He's my goddaughter's twin
oh
brother.
yeah.
Yeah, he was coming to OU his senior year. I think the whole link thing, or I don't remember exactly what it was, but my daughter was going to come to OU. They were all going to come,
Wow.
and yeah, she's Roy's little cousin. Um, anyway, yeah, defense. I honestly don't have a lot of insight. I'm curious to see how we rebound, Barry. That we could talk to the moon and back and speculate. It's the guys, offense and defense. They are who they are. It'll
Mhm.
be interesting to see what we deploy on offense in terms of correcting things that have been wrong, and kind of like stamping the things we say this is who we are. And then on defense, I've seen people talking about the whole idea of the defense starting to tire out and tire down. So is the offense going to be able to put together drives, score touchdowns, and give the defense an opportunity to rest? Oh, I got something I want to say.
Let's
I,
hear
I,
it.
I haven't heard nobody say, "Hey, bro, this is gonna piss." It pissed me off, Barry. Oh, I got something I
Let's
want to
hear it.
say. I watched the game again because I watched the game. I went to the alumni party. By the way, it was nice. I
Oh
picked the
yeah.
right one. I didn't go to the crazy one. There's one. It's crazy. It's too many people for me. I'm an old man,
Okay.
so I want to go to the one with like 400 people. I don't want to go to the one with like 5,000. There's like a crazy one. But anyway, you guys ready for this? I haven't heard anybody say it.
Let's
The
go.
play that loses us the game. I mean, that's not true. On the play where it's third and medium, and they run pistol, uh, power QB keep. The one where Manning shows the ball, pulls the ball. They hadn't shown it all game. They were showing pistol, and they were running that inside zone or running that 22 power, whatever. If they were running a gap scheme, and or a zone scheme, whatever it was, they're running the inside zone, or they're running a lead or whatever it was. And then the final one where uh, Arch pulls it, and then he hits the sideline. You guys ready? It's the 22 starters. It's the 22 starters. I don't care what no one says. I don't care. I don't care. On that play, I don't care if it's Heineke and Sammy O's drive. I'm putting in McKenzie and Kip.
Yeah.
They're on the sideline, bro.
Yeah.
And so, because I'm watching the play, and I'm like, the backer flashed. He flashes across Archer's face, and I just like, oh, we missed. I thought it was McKenzie. It's Sammy O. And then I see it's Owen. Owen's the one who's chasing him down, and Arch slides. And I said, you gotta be kidding me. Like, I don't know. I just don't get it, right? Again, it's the Roy Lee Brandon Shelby deal. Brandon earned the right to get reps, starter reps, because he was
Yeah.
good. He could blitz and he knew how to do his job. But imagine it's that key third down against Nebraska. Or imagine it's the OU Texas 2001, the play Roy gets the pick on Roy Williams because they're running a seam route and Roy carries it, turnarounds, and picks it. Imagine if we have Brandon Shelby in just because it's his turn. You know what I'm saying, bro?
Yeah.
Like, what are we
Yeah.
doing? Like, how is Kip and McKenzie not in
Yeah.
on that play?
How is that not called from the press box, D-Mac? How is that not like I get on the sidelines sometimes there's like a lot going on, but how do your press box guys go, okay, big situation, big drive?
Because it's the philosophy. Because everybody's bought it. Because BV says, "Hey guys, this is what we're doing," and BV says to his players, "I trust you. We're gonna have 22 starters. If you're 22, then you're 22." And you remember when we were looking at depth chart, and we were like, "Huh,
Yeah.
Kip is an or, but
Yeah.
RMT isn't." Remember that?
Yeah.
Do you remember that? RMT was the
100%.
only one on the defense that wasn't an or, and even Kip was an or. So I
I think
think
it was
they
him and
bought.
Mateer were the only two, period.
I think offense had a couple, but defense,
Okay.
everybody was an or except RMT. And so we were even asking, like, so does that mean it's gonna be equal reps? But if your dude's the starter, and when the game starts, they're like, this is the key person. If he's the leading tackler on your team, there's just I just think that's a huge. I think that's just I think that's a huge strategic error,
Yeah.
fallacy. Like, they're not the same. If they were exactly the same and they're robots and they're going to produce the same, but like Kip and McKenzie tackle better. Owen is instinctual. He has instincts and he can kind of get through trash, right? But Sammy O isn't. Sammy is the play side backer. Go watch the play. And he flashes. And I just say to myself, you know, it's funny. If the backer who flashes tackles him, it's fourth down.
Yeah.
It's fourth
Yeah.
down, bro, and they got a punt, bro. Go watch the play. I wish I had it. He flashes right by him, and I'm like, man, I think Kip could have made that play. And to me, listen, I hope this isn't me hating on BV, but damn it, I observed the games and I watched the games, and I saw it and I said, no one else brought that up. What game was that we brought it? We brought it up.
It was Auburn.
Was it Auburn?
It was Auburn. It was Auburn.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
Auburn, right? And like, why
That
do you
was the
have your
game where like Auburn's got their best personnel in offensively.
yeah.
You've got Heineke out there. You've got PJ out there. I think that's what it was. On the edge, you had PJ and Wine instead of and Wine's really like close to it's RMT and MJJ.
And they also had Sammy O and Heineke, and I was like, I can't believe it. And by the way, Sammy O is not a better athlete than Kip. No way, no how.
And here's your test right now. If the NFL draft were tomorrow, which of those four players are getting drafted?
It's not even a question.
There you go. Heineke, probably undrafted. Sammy O ain't ready.
Heineke gonna play in the league though. I like Heineke.
Probably.
I like Heineke.
He's like a 4th to 7th. It's tough to grade him right now at this point in this stage of the game, but he's probably a 4th to 6th round kind of guy at this point.
You say Heineke?
Heineke, yeah.
Oh, he's a late round guy who will make a team.
Kip
is going to be drafted first 2 or 3 rounds.
If he tests well, he's a 2nd or 3rd round player, easily. So yeah, that's crazy. And McKenzie also, if McKenzie goes and tests well with his size and what the teams are doing now more in the NFL and his foot speed that's improved, that's interesting too. You know, in this game, D-Mac, I thought about your point more so. I can't remember what game you made it, but you talked about why the team doesn't get turnovers. And this is kind of going back. I think we had a super chat here just to shout it out about turnovers. If not, just wanted to touch on it. I saw the question in there. And you said that the turnovers come when there is pressure on the offense to do things outside of their character. Mm-hmm. And in this game, Texas never once felt like they needed to get outside of what they were doing. right? Sark played it to the point where the Arch just did what he was asked to do in the game. Number 5 handled running the ball really well. Texas still has athletes. They're really good on defense. The OU, with as big a plays as they had early in the game and as much momentum as it felt like they had, they never converted. They never had.
Yep.
They couldn't close. They couldn't close the deal. Right. It feels like a team still that is like a piece or two away. And then this is just something I'll say to the psyche of the team too. It felt like by the third quarter, and I don't know if they went in at halftime and, Mateer's hand wasn't doing good, so it affected the player's psyche or what. But by mid third, that offense just seemed like there was no pep. There was no oomph in what they were doing. You almost felt the loss at that point in the game. And,
Barry,
go ahead.
remember this. We talked on Saturday. I don't drink. Drinks
Mm-hmm.
were flowing, baby.
By
Third
the third.
I don't drink anymore. Drinks was flowing.
That's
Drinks was
wild.
flowing because it was just like, what are we doing? This is looking terrible.
It wasn't
And
good.
you're right though. We gotta go. It's like 3 or 4 super chats we haven't addressed. Seth, I see you,
Yeah,
brother.
let's get to them real quick. We'll go. Well, we'll save the Kel Gundy one for the very end.
Yeah.
So with Riley, this is shout out Seth. We were wasting great offenses. With this, you're wasting a great defense. We do still think OU has a great defense, or at least a very good defense, one of the best ones in 2025. Right, the word "great" is kind of thrown around there a little bit. Like 01 was a great defense. This defense is really solid with a really, really potentially great front seven if they finish the year out right. Thoughts on that, D-Mac? Just the defense
10
and the way.
thoughts on Saturday or whenever I did it. I think I did it Monday. Imagine if we had Lincoln Riley as our OC.
Oh man,
We will be, bro, killing. So yeah, I think Arbuckle has a lot to prove. He has a lot. He has a lot to show in what he's done. I think the defense is great. I just think they haven't had a complimentary offense. All they need is a complimentary. 01, the game was so much slower. The
yeah,
game was slower in 01. And so, and our offense was such that we could pick up first downs. We just weren't as a prominent scoring machine like we were in 2000. And I'm telling you, when J-Dub was in, all of a sudden it was an uptick, and then he only got to play for 2 or 3 games. It was the quarterback. Nate wasn't comfortable his first year starting, which was fair. He played much better second year. But yeah, we listen, the season's not over. Let's see tomorrow. Tomorrow, it's going to be an interesting thing for me because I am going to make a stance one way or the other. Tomorrow,
Mhm.
let's say tomorrow we win 28-23, and it's a hard fought game. We run we run enough to win, and we throw a couple TDs to win, but I see the makings of an identity. I'm good. Let's say we lose 31-27, but the offense again shows some identity. I'm good. Let's say we win 21-13 and the defense gets a score and we have some special team stuff or turnovers and short fields, and I'm going to still have problems. I
Mhm.
want to see this offense show like what our desires and priorities are, what we want to impose, what we want defense to be thinking about. Again, like I said on Monday, the very first play of the game, Sark put OU on notice. He ran zone action one way, tight end screen the other way, and said, OU, I am not going to let you pin your ears back and get my quarterback. The very first play of the game, he said that. And for the remainder of the game, our guys couldn't pin their ears back, and it was that half tick. That was the difference between Wisner squirting through on that 47-yard run that he had in second or third quarter, whatever it was. We're right there.
Yeah.
RMT's right there. I think it's Sammy O again on that one too. I think it's the Sammy Owen unit on that play as well. But like guys are like, okay, I got to recuse versus Texas was able to say, these ninjas running the same stuff they ran on film. Oh, the exact plays we saw on film they running, man, let's go. Like, think how fun that is. Think
yeah,
how fun you can just react, and there's no hope for some type of juke route or dick route, we will call them, right? Or some pump and go or screen and go, right? Like I'm not talking about a trick play, right? Trick
sure.
plays are one aspect, but building depth in the scheme and the playbook and the concepts, that's much more difficult. And Texas was able to keep us on our heels because of misdirection, eye candy in the backfield, right? Jet sweeps going this way, motions going that way. How about they run the motion and run the slant back in? That was pretty sweet. That's how they get. I think that's the first down. It's a big first down they pick up late in the game. They're in bunch. The tight end, I forgot the kid's name. Livestock, I believe his name. He kind of does like a jet motion away, orbit motion away, and then they run the slant right back into it. That's good offense. So we'll see. We'll see what we do. That matters. SBC Bates just got in. Gonna start from the
Yeah,
beginning. Oh Lord, yeah, yeah.
this,
Listen. People know how I feel about
there
DeMarco
you
as a
go.
coach. Man, he's got to step up. He's got to earn his paycheck. Period.
Yeah, and then the last one, DMAC, just and maybe we'll both do this. We'll get to closing out the show, but record, man. If you had to put money on it right now,
Don't do
how
that.
the he
We
wants
ain't
you to
losing
put
no
some money
more.
on
That's
it.
what you want me to say. We're not gonna lose, man. What you mean?
You got to pick
What you mean?
DMAC.
Come
DMAC,
on,
guys,
man.
for those who are new to the show, DMAC doesn't pick loss.
What you mean, bro? Any
Yeah,
given Saturday, there's no team that can just beat. Like if we were trash, like, hey, bro, we can. Last year, I was saying as the second half of this season, like we ain't gonna win.
they're gonna be tough.
Nah, man, I got hope. I think our quarterback, our general, right?
Yeah,
He was a little hurt last week. We gonna see this week. If this week, if that, like I said, if we out there poo trash this week, then I'm gonna call it. And I'm gonna be upset. They're not gonna like me in the building. They're not gonna want to. I'm only be invited back when they got alumni days. They're not gonna let me just pull up because I'm gonna speak on it. If we play
mhm,
trash, sorry, I'm speaking on it. I am. But for
yeah.
right now, no more losses. Damn it. What you mean?
Yeah, you know that Michigan has turned out to be a pretty good team, thus far,
They got
and
their ass whooped by SC though. SC whooped
yeah,
that ass.
but they they'll probably still be in the thick of it at the end, right? And SC to me, like you talked about Riley, that they've turned out to be a pretty good team this year. So,
By the way, Lemon was supposed to be a Sooner too.
isn't it
Their
crazy?
number one
It's-
receiver.
yeah,
He's like the number one receiver in America in terms of catches or yards or something. He was supposed to be a Sooner.
yeah. No, I think this is a team that still came out with the same Arbuckle that struggled against Texas, that just didn't seem to have a and it has to be stated, you don't have your quarterback ready to go. So anything you might want to put in, any change up, anything that is, you don't get to rep it in the same regard, right? You don't get to rep it in the same way. So to me, this is kind of this is the must win game at the point for the season. If OU does not win the game against South Carolina, regardless of performance and regardless of what we're saying at the end of the game, I think fans are going to quickly turn DMAC.
Oh
And I
yeah.
think the two losses in a row, two losses. So think about this. It'd be two losses to two teams who you got beat by a year ago. And then
Right.
that's not a good look. Then you've got Ole Miss coming up next week. I mean, you're talking about as much as we said OU could afford to lose two or three right now, and this is even more to your
This
point,
ain't the
you
one.
couldn't lose against Texas. Like, if you lose this now, the loss to Texas is even more magnified. And then now there's real pressure, because there's pressure on BV's job. There's pressure on the whole staff. There's pressure on players. You're going to have kids who start shutting it down for the season. So, yeah, this game right now is pretty massive. And the team still, I don't think you go from being a team that everybody thought could possibly compete for a playoff spot and win a national championship to you suck, kind of as you have stated. But I do think this team feels like it is teetering, and we've seen Venables teams in the past, right? they're teetering right on that cusp of like, this is nut cutting time. Which way do you go? Right? What direction does the program take at this junction in the season? And to me, it is obviously getting the right scheme in place or doing things that fit your players more. But Blaylock and Robinson have to be guys who carry the load. You've got to figure out who are your guys at receiver who can catch the ball and do something with it. And then the 5 on the offensive line, they have got to figure up that group and just stick with it and stay healthy, right? And I know that's like a big ask, but in this one, you have got to have a group there long enough, and maybe that's the root of the lack of physicality. Who knows, right? At this point, there are so many questions that Sooner fans have been asking for multiple years that the answers just are not obvious as to why or why not there are still issues, right? Physicality on the O-line, running backs not, running to daylight, receivers not being great, right? You got a bunch of really good players. You don't have to really know great guys at receiver. So what do you do? So DMAC, just kind of close the thoughts and then let's pick this South Carolina game for tomorrow, man.
I don't have a lot to say. I'm very anxious to see what's happening. I did not know about the Dolby thing that he's out. I'm just gonna say it here first. He's not injured. Take with that what you want. Yeah, if he's on the report as out, it ain't because he's injured. So, and that's firsthand information that was told to me, and I think anyway, I'll speak to that tomorrow or whenever we post pod.
That'll be great for tomorrow, man. We'll
Yeah.
leave the teaser, the
Um,
cliffhanger.
yeah, so I don't know. I said this on the post, or I said this on 10 Thoughts. I don't know who we are. And so that's what I'm really aiming to discover on tomorrow. I am aiming to discover. I see a lot of people talking about Mateer and is he great or was he kind of overhyped? We'll see.
Yeah.
I think the whole Heisman thing is over unless something crazy. I mean, he could make some stuff happen later on in the season because of the schedule we play and the conference we're in. But here's the thing that I just want to make sure we remember: our defense is good enough to win a championship now. They're good enough. Um, our offense should be dangerous enough to overcome our issues. If for 11 games or 12 games we say the O line was the issue, the coaching was the issue too.
Agreed. Yeah.
Like we didn't last year. We were able to say we had 4 or 5 guys with season ending or half season. They were gone half the season. There's low key continuity on the line.
Yeah, like you're
For real.
healthy tomorrow.
Yeah.
All 5 of your starters are
Like,
playing tomorrow.
you know what I'm saying? Most of them have played most of the season except for Susi. Like all of those guys have been playing a lot. And there's been ELPs who could come in. And you know what I mean? There Howlands who has been like a swing tackle. Like it's not like we're trying to stick peanut butter on the back of a picture and stick it on the wall and see if it'll stay up. No, the guys are the guys, and you picked them, you trained them, you off seasoned them, you fall camped them. Nah, I ain't about to beat the kids up now. You know what I'm saying? Coaches, you got to figure out a way to get them to work. So I'll see how things pan out tomorrow. I just think a critical error is the 22 starters. Again, guys, go back and watch it. You don't have your best players on the field on that critical third down. It's happened in earlier games too. I'm calling out the offensive guru, right? Who BV was turning over the offense to. I've called out players. You guys have heard me call out players for years. I am a players got to make plays guy, but coaches got to coach them up, and we got to have a competitive advantage. And if I don't know, you know what I'm saying? If I'm not on the defense and I'm looking like, oh God, we running the jet sweep, here it comes. You know what I'm saying? Oh God, we running the in cut, here it comes. Like, we don't have a slot fade. How do we not play a cover 2 shell when teams start robbing and run a slot fade? I saw it tonight. I was like, I haven't seen us run slot fade this year. We haven't run one slot fade, or maybe we did like against like Illy State. I think Illy State we ran one, but like we slot fade is a quick set. It's quick game. It's not a progression route. Slot fade is pick a side, and outside guy runs a smash or an out or a 7-yard curl to hold that corner, and the slot fade is 1v1. By the way, we ran it with Link 3 times a game. We
To
ran it with CD
open
Lamb,
game.
Hollywood
Yeah,
Brown, them
they would
boys.
run that
Them
against
boys was,
everybody.
oh man, are you kidding me? So, see how the game goes. I'm gonna hold my thoughts and opinions until after the game, and then I'll have a lot of stuff to say after that.
All right, man. Let's get a score out here. What is the spread on this one? What was it? Last I looked here. USC.
I don't know.
Let's take a look here. I thought it was 5, but let me see here. 2.5. So OU is minus 2.5. Yeah. So seeing 4.5, 2.5. So this showed 2.5. So is it 4.5, guys? Is what we're seeing? So I mean, I think if OU wins the game outright, I think they do. No, I think it is 2.5.
I don't give a damn about covering. The
Yeah.
point is, if we're a 2.5 favorite on the road, that means we're a 7-point favorite. Are we 5? In no way, it's 5.5. So it's 4.5. That means that means they expect us to win by 7 points. So you get 2.5 points per home team. All right. So 4.5 plus 2.5 is 7 points. So we're 7 points better than them, is how you calculate that. I don't care. I just want to win.
So I'm gonna go just with where the offense has been thus far this season, and to put something out there. So I got something to post on X tomorrow morning. I'm gonna say OU 27, South Carolina. Let's go 10-point win. Let's say 27-17. That's been about every time OU has won these games. Granted, they haven't had that many offensive touchdowns, but I'm gonna say
Did we lose a recruit, bro. We lost a recruit.
Did somebody decommit, or are they talking about?
Are y'all yapping and or are we saying something about one of the OU quarterbacks decommitted? What are y'all talking
No,
about?
I think they were talking about hypothetically Bo Bentley would decommit, like if this continues this year, and OU struggles offensively. So
I don't think he would decommit. I don't think
he would decommit. If Arbuckle does not show that he can put a guy like Mateer, who many people had tabbed as the #1 quarterback just 2 weeks ago. If he go ahead.
Remember what we said though? Is it me or is he slow? He was slow against Michigan. He got wiggle. He got COD, but he ain't beating nobody to the corner. I see 10 quarterbacks every Saturday who run faster than him. Like, but I'm not hating on him, but like he's not like a quick twitch. He's gonna shake your draws and then go 30. You know what I'm saying? Unless it's Temple, right? But he's a gamer.
He gets so low, man. And
you honestly, said he was faster than Bake. I think Bake's
I still think he's faster than Bake.
I think Bake's faster than him.
I would disagree.
Bake got juice.
Bake has juice. He's not faster than Bake.
I think he's definitely no. Yeah, you're right. He's not faster than Bake. You're absolutely right.
Or I think he is faster.
I think
he is faster than Bake in a 4.
I don't think
100%. I honestly, you're talking if one guy is a what was Bake 4.71?
Yeah, like a 4.74, 4.75.
Then if he's not, he's 4.77, 4.8. You know, I think it's that close. But I think Mateer will probably be closer to like a 4.7, 4.68 kind of range.
Even if he does, Baker plays and scrambles faster than him, is what I'm saying. Like Baker's got more juice to him.
First 10 yards, Baker is gonna kill him. It's the next 30. If Baker's 10-yard split is like a 1.5.
Hell nah, he like a 1.7. Ain't no way he a 1.5.
Who was a 1? Who was a 1? Was it Perry on Winfrey who was a 1.58?
Yes,
I think it was
1.59.
1.59. Insane. So just numbers out there. If Baker's a 1.5, Mateer is like a 1.75, 1.8. So it's just Baker has so much pop out of his feet that Mateer does not have. It's why Baker was so. It's why to me, it's the separator of why Baker will last in the pros and why Mateer is going to have issues. Baker's feet are still great at
Oh
the
yeah.
professional level because he
Yeah.
always had great feet,
Oh yeah.
right?
Oh yeah.
Mateer, you know who he reminds me of actually in terms of the fool's gold to me of just feet, right? Because everybody thought he had phenomenal feet, and I questioned it highly because he knew how to play low, he understood angles, and in the college game, it's different. Was Johnny Manziel to me? Johnny Manziel,
No. Johnny's a 10 times better athlete than Mateer, bro.
yeah, but
Jo-
Johnny went to the NFL, and none of the athleticism transferred.
he
None
was
of
high. He was high and drunk on Thursday
Doesn't matter.
practice.
Doesn't matter. None of the wiggle, none of the footwork, none of it from the moment he got there, none of it transferred. He could never create separation the way Baker can create separation, especially playing quarterback. If you cannot create separation quickly, the moment you feel pressure, then
I'm just laughing at Manziel. Manziel couldn't get out of his own way. So let's go back to score. What'd you say the score was? You're gonna do what?
I said OU finally gets 3 offensive touchdowns in an SEC game. They're going to get 21.
You said
Uh,
27.
17. Let's go 27. Oh, they hold South Carolina to 2 touchdowns and a field goal. And they get the victory. I'm going to say 27-17.
I'm gonna leave the comments alone. I
Yeah.
am so
Oh, yeah.
here's what we need. We need a game against a P4 opponent where the offense is not only just adequate,
Yeah.
explosive. We need to score in the 30s. We need a game. And I'm not saying, again, you know me, I always speak from the context of what I expect. I'm not speaking from like I'm a bettor and I'm betting on the score,
Sure.
because if I was betting on the score, I'd say 13-7. Okay,
Yeah.
so let's call
Yeah.
it spade a spade.
It feels betting wise, it's like a 23-16 kind of game.
What we need is a 31-34 point win. We need Mateer to throw for 3 touchdowns, run for a touchdown. We need the offense to string together some 6-7 play drives and the offense to create some big plays. I'm watching football tonight and I'm like, man, you got a true freshman at Miami who's breaking tackles going 60. You got a running back at Louisville who is getting through traffic. There's a middle backer right there, and he's getting through it and getting to the next level and going 20, right? Like that's the players got to make plays and some of that stuff. So I want to see some guys step up and be playmakers, difference makers. 31 points for the offense. I think defense, if we don't turn the ball over, and that's Mateer's biggest issue. Mateer's biggest issue is turning the ball over, and that hurts our defense a lot every game. Give us 31-17, 31-14, 31-14. Oklahoma lets everyone know that we are not wishful thinking. Like I said, I'm speaking from the context of what I expect. If I was to give my bet, I'd bet 13-7, just based upon what my eyeballs have seen. So I'm not wishful thinking. I'm speaking on an expectation of what we need to do. This is what they need to do to earn the respect of the opponents and the teams we're going to see down the road and really get that feel back. Give me 31-14. If Arbuckle can't score 30 in the SEC, why do we hire him?
Facts.
Why do we hire him?
Gotta leave Vanderbilt scoring 30. Vanderbilt's scoring 40.
Vanderbilt got that dog in them.
They
Vanderbilt.
do.
We'll see what happens after Pavia leaves. But yeah. 31-14 Oklahoma. SEC says, okay, OU's legit. We're 2-1 in conference. Who do we got after that? Ole Miss?
Ole Miss.
And by the way, Ole Miss is a paper champ too.
Oh,
Ole Miss is a paper champ.
I love it. Well, thank you guys for hopping on tonight. Fantastic stuff as always, D-Mac. Gonna try and hit you guys with the we'll get on for the post game tomorrow. What 11:45 funky kickoff time.
Is that what time we play?
It's 11:45. Yeah, so very strange time. It will be interesting to see just away game, 11 a.m. quote unquote kickoff. Does the team come prepared? Are they ready to go? Does the Texas loss linger? I think that's what fans will be asking themselves prior to kickoff, and especially if things don't go well early on. If Mateer struggles, the picks, You know, that there was a couple guys, some of these mechanics guys online who talked about Mateer pre-injury and just some of the sidearm stuff, not setting his feet. All of those issues were exacerbated by the injury, where now not only are you not setting your feet, you have bad mechanics, but you're now hurt. So anything that you got from your wrist, from your fingers, from that last little bit that lets you get the ball into those tight windows is gone. You're late. And some of the throws were just felt like he didn't see the guy. It was bad decision making. He was late, right? Especially the throw to Burks right before halftime. And some of that, to me, D-Mac, as you said, that's coaching. That is situational football. What is going on in the game right now where we need to make sure that that this team is in a position to put points on the board before halftime. So we'll obviously be talking about it a ton tomorrow, guys. Make sure to follow us on social media. X, find me at BWise Fitness, letter BWISE Fitness. Find DMac at D_Mac13. Always follow the Instagram, follow the YouTube, The Barry and Mack Show, where you get all the latest stuff. And of course, OU Insider, OUinsider.com. Go over there and get yourself a membership. But Sooner fans, as always, thank you for watching. We will see you soon.